Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stevie Kim. This is the Italian Wine Club. Where is everybody? Let's let everybody know that our room is now open. And of course, we get to replay on Italian Wine Podcast. And congratulations, Cynthia. Your show, your actually episode is one of the most heard. Not with you, Alberto. It was with Ilaria Takis. But also your episode was way up there on the list as well. So thank you all for joining us. This is, I believe, Laika. Is it our 39th?
Yeah, exactly. It's our 39th. Next week is our 40th.
Holy crap. 39th episode. I'm just coming in from a funeral, very sad, Franco Allegrini, who is, of course, the brother of Marilisa. He is often behind the scene, but he was the enologist for the Allegrini group, and he has passed last week. So I just went to the funeral, and of course, there were many people from the wine world. Very sad about that, and the best wishes to the family, the wife, her name is Marilena, and of course the sons who will carry the torch for the family. He said, "Oh, Alberto, just to say hello, goodbye." He said, "I'm leaving." Okay, ciao, ciao. So here today we have Erin DeMara. Ciao, Erin.
Ciao, Stevie.
Where are you?
I am currently in Florida, in my home. Actually, I'm sequestered in the in the one room of my house that's still mine, the garage.
Okay. Well, what's the COVID situation there?
Well, for a lot of Americans that followed it, Florida never had COVID. We never really closed.
Yeah.
At least according to our esteemed governor.
Completely a different story. Never had COVID, and we never closed.
No, I think the mentality here was everyone that could get infected did, and so business didn't quite shut down, and we got through it. But things are actually, we'll say, back to a new normal, and now we're the most unaffordable place to live in America, according to Forbes magazine.
I know, holy shit! Like everybody's moving to Florida, and I mean other places too, like Long Island as well. From New York, everyone's moving out to Long Island.
Right. So to look at the silver lining of it, it's great for the wine business.
Florida, you mean?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
At least for the import business, we have a lot of New Yorkers and other people that move here that they look to drink what they were drinking in all parts of the world.
Whereabouts in Florida are you?
I'm in the Palm Beach area, so about 1 hour north.
That's posh, Erin. I didn't know you lived in a posh place.
It would be nice. I can almost see Palm Beach from from where we live.
Okay, so for folks out there, let me tell you who Erin DeMara is. He's, of course, one of our friends, part of our VIA family member, but he's been in the business for a very long time. How many years?
Going on 30 between restaurant and importing.
Holy crap, I didn't know you were that old.
I know, old.
Well, you look pretty good, Erin.
Really, the wine keeps us young, doesn't it, Stevie?
Yeah. Listen, did you stay on for VinItaly this year?
Just very briefly. I had some other wineries that I needed to visit, so I had to maximize my time. So, this is the first time in quite a few years that I have not attended Opera Wine, which was a difficult decision. Alessandro was,
yeah.
It's the best showcase of not only Italian wines, but maybe the single collection of any country's wines put together. So I hope that most of the listeners on our chat room here today in our clubhouse got to experience it.
Yeah, I mean, it was very different. Of course, we didn't have Asia, especially the Chinese. We did have some Asians, of course, based in Europe, and living this part of the world. There were some Japanese, Koreans, but of course we didn't have China. And then, of course, because of the war, we didn't have people from Russia and from that side of the world, which is very important also for Italian wine. But I think a lot of the producers understood that, these are challenging times, and I think everyone was. I don't know about you, but I think everyone was, grateful that we were able to actually pull it off. I didn't do my COVID testing until everything was over because I was afraid I might have COVID. then I would have had to, stay at home. So luckily I was negative, and I can't believe it. I do have one husband, nobody knows, but he's a medical doctor, not a doctor like everybody else in Italy. And he said, it's only culo. You know what that means in Italian. It's only luck if you don't get it with the thousands of people that you have met. But I didn't get it. We had a couple of, our office, we had about 30, 40 people, and nobody had COVID. We were unscathed for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, with this new wave, a bunch of us got it as well. So that's that. So Erin, of course, is a he's been working around, he said, about 30 years, nearly 30 years in the wine and spirits and restaurant business stateside. It's his 7th year with 1821 Fine Wine and Spirits, which is an Italian-focused importer. He manages more than 100 wines and spirits in Florida, and he is a certified wine educator of Society of Wine Educators, incredibly qualified, but most importantly, he is the Italian wine ambassador and educator for VinItaly International Academy. So, Erin, why did you choose Alessandro Gallo as your producer to interview today?
He's the only one that agreed to talk to me. No, that's not true.
Wait, that made it kind of simple.
No, Alessandro is he's a great winemaker. He's become a friend. I first met him in 2005. One of my very first years traveling to Italy, and he is he's really a compendium of knowledge when it comes to growing and making wine from Sangiovese, even though he's born and raised in Piemonte. And I also think he has a really open and generous and honest way of speaking about his estates and how he makes wine, from the vineyard up. And we always have a lot of fun when we're together, dining, drinking wine. I thought he'd be a great interview for our clubhouse.
Where does Alessandro make his wine? Tell us for the audience.
So Alessandro is the director of the Castello di Alba estate. He actually lives on the estate in the castle with his family.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice place to live, Alessandro.
That castle is truly a castle on a hill. I remember my first visit there was in 2003, and you drive up from Rada and you go up this impossibly steep hill with the vineyards laid out before you, and it's a magical place to visit for all of us on the clubhouse today. That if you haven't been to Castello di Alba in Rada, it must be equally a great place to live. And Alessandro is an extremely talented winemaker. He and I share the same birth year, 1971. Like I said, he's from Piemonte. He was born in Acquiterme, and Alessandro actually has a degree in chemistry from the Umberto I Enological School in Alba, and graduated from the university in Turin in '97. And then he worked in Piemonte first for the Dezzani family and became their technical director. And in 2004, the Zonin family hired him to run the estate here at Castello di Alba. I think it was in 2014 that he also took over as head winemaker for the family's Maremma estate, Rocca di Montemasi. And in that time, if my numbers are correct, he's won. I've been awarded 12 Trebicchieri from the Gabbiano Rosso for his work at Castello di Alba, and 3 more Trebicchieri for his winemaking at Rocca di Montemasi. So certainly one of the most awarded winemakers in the last decade and a half in Tuscany.
Fantastic. So he's a talented winemaker. So I understand now why you've chosen him. So, what are our learning objectives for today that we should expect from your call today?
Well, I'm hoping that Alessandro can help illuminate some similarities and differences in growing Sangiovese, especially between the hills of Chianti Classico and the warm plains of Maremma. Talk about his philosophy of enology and vinification, and also shed some light on how he treats the other varietals that they grow on the properties there, Cabernet Sauvignon, Vermentino, Chardonnay, Syrah, these grapes that are becoming more and more important in the new world of Tuscan wines.
Where is he growing the Vermentino, the
Vermentino,
whites,
the whites
and
are.
Chardonnay?
So the Vermentino is on the property at Maremma. We know that Vermentino has become very important to to that Tuscan coast. There is one old small plot of Cabernet Sauvignon on the estate Excel Diabla, as well as a single vineyard of Chardonnay that grows at the highest point of the vineyard. So very high elevation, elegant style Chardonnay. And then the other, what we call them, say, traditional varietals that they grow in Maremma at Rocca di Montemasi, including Merlot, Syrah, Petit Verdot.
Okay, very good. All right, listen, over to you, Erin, and I will disappear and shut up and then come back should there be any questions. For the audience, there's a cute little thing now, the chat box. If you have any questions at any point, you can shoot them on the chat box right there. And then if you want to instead hang around, you can ask the questions yourself if we have any time left over towards the end. Okay, take it away, Erin.
Thank you, Stevie, and thank you everyone for joining me and joining Alessandro here on our Clubhouse. It's my pleasure to introduce Alessandro Gallo, the technical director and winemaker for Castello Diabla in Radda and Chianti, and the Rocca di Montemasi estate in Maremma. Alessandro is a friend, and I look forward to the next time that he and I can have a glass of wine together. And full disclosure for everyone here, we chatted a bit earlier today and decided he was going to go to his big wine cellar there at Castello Diabla, and me to my very little one here at my house. And so we're both opening and tasting alongside our chat today a bottle of his 2014 Chianti Classico Riserva, which was a challenging vintage, as I understand it. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Alessandro, good evening to you.
Erin, buonasera. Thank you very much. So gentle in your presentation. So too much, too much. Grazie mille, Erin.
No, it's your turn to talk now.
And grazie, thank you very much also Stevie to invitation, and you of course as fantastic opportunity for me for the estate Castello d'Albole and Rocca di Montemasi. That's so gentle for the presentation. Thank you everybody. I'm sorry for my English, it's not fantastic, but we try to speak slowly, okay?
And that I'll do for you.
Yeah, thank you very
Obviously,
much, Erin.
and obviously, I'm biased. I've known you and these estate wines and these wineries for a long time. But Alessandro, can
Yes.
you tell the rest of our listeners here, what do you think makes Castello di Abla and that estate so unique in Chianti Classico?
Uh, One of the most important thing today, Herring, is the altitude. I think Castello di Albola is in Radda in Chianti. Is in the middle of in the heart of Chianti area, between Florence and Siena. It's a very topic today. This little village, as is very high. The elevation today, the soil of Chianti area and the elevation of Radda, I think is one of the most important characteristic that influence the wine, the Sangiovese grapes in the maturity in the winemaking. Altitude today help us to do fresh wine, acid wine, vertical wine, mineral wine, wine that are very, very drinkable. Today, altitude help us in a big problem of today. There is warming. Altitude means a very, very good delta or gap of temperature of day and night. So I want to say, if you ask me, one of the first important thing I say, of course, the environment, but honestly, the altitude today is very, very important for us.
And at what altitudes are the vineyards
The
there?
Radda in Chianti is a 500 meter on the sea level. The Castello d'Albola estate is on between 350, 400 meter to 700 meter on the sea level. So very high. Poggio alle Fate, you mentioned Chardonnay before, is the highest vine of the state, is a 700 meter on the sea level. So very, very high. And today, this means finesse, Herring. This means elegance in the bouquet. This means strictness in the tasting of wine. I think today, many people want to taste that kind of wine. There's a very good combination of tannin and acidity. I think I always say that tannin plus acidity means drinkability. That is a very good character of Radda in Chianti wine, drinkability.
And did you find when you started there in 2004 that you had to make any significant changes to how the wines were made or how the vineyards were managed?
Of course, Harry. Of course, Harry. I speak frequently about that. Is for me is less than 20 years, 18 years, and I can watch. I can observe a changing in the quality of grapes and also in the vinification. Of course, not only for warming changing. Not only for that, Castello d'Albola in these 20 years changed all of vine. We we move from a vineyard that was more quantity oriented, more not so high plantation, for example, different system to growing. We move every vineyard, we change the portograph, we change the clone of Sangiovese. So this is a character that changed the quality of Sangiovese. So the changing of clone, the 2000 project of Chianti Classico, we were able to plant the new kind of Sangiovese that have the best maturity, the better maturity in our area. So that is a very, very important. Also, the agronomists put a lot of science in the management of vineyards. So many things are changing also from our side, not only for temperature, for the weather. Do you understand?
Oh, of course. We talk a lot in our VIA community, about Tuscany, about Chianti Classico in particular, and the the soils and everything else that goes into each different estate. I just wanted to touch on, for those of us that are in the VIA community and still studying, what kind of different soils do you have there in the Castello di Albola estate, and
Yeah.
do they give different expressions to Sangiovese for you?
Yeah, absolutely yes. The soil of Radda Chianti Castello di Albola, it's very rocky. It's very rich in stone, and in particular in Galestro and Alberese stones are typical stones of that area. So what means that the soil of Chianti, of Castello di Albola, it's very poor, it's very drainant. So the roots of the vines go very deeper, were very deep to reach the mineral, to reach the water, to reach the nutrient, and that's means also the poor soil. Means also that you have not a lot of vigor, and normally when you grow up a red variety, you don't need too much vigor. You need the plant in a good equilibrium, but not so much vigorous. So because the plant have to think at the grapes, not at the leaves. So soil, it's really really important, really really important.
And was that something that came about during the Chianti Classico project, the analysis of your soils, or is that just simply the experience that you've had there for these 18 years?
Yeah, when I arrived in Chianti, when I arrived in Radda, the clone of Sangiovese was not like today. Was honestly clone that was not so adapted at the condition, at the environmental condition of Radda of Chianti. So normally they were clone that they have not a good maturity of the fruit of the grapes. The project of consortium, the project of Chianti consortium, permit to selection the better clone that they are more adapt in our condition. Our condition in Radda in Chianti is quite extreme condition because the altitude, again, I repeat, the altitude don't permit very well the maturity. So we need the right clone for our area. But today there is I want to say, I spoke with my colleague last year day about if you like, a parameter. No, it's a parameter. For example, the alcohol of wine. When arriving in Chianti area, Sangiovese arrive at 12.5. If you see my bottles, Chianti Classico Castello d'Albola 2004 is a 12.5. Today is 13.5. So of course something is changing. Oh, and it's a two combination. Of course, warming, but also our system to growing up the vineyard and also the clone.
Yeah, because you seem to have managed to retain, that signature elegance in your wines, even as they see more warmth and more ripeness.
Yeah.
I do recall when I first started importing and selling these wines, you had other grapes that were planted on the property, more traditional, Tuscan varietals.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide not to use those in your blend?
95% of our grapes in Castello di Albola, or more than 90, is Sangiovese grapes. I honestly believe that Sangiovese represent is the represent the soul of Chianti Classico, because Sangiovese is a very very autochthon variety of that area, and he have a very good combination of acidity, tannin, and elegance. And that, I think, today is one of the most important things that a winemaker can do for in a production of wine. Of course, it's true that 20, 30 years ago, somebody planted in our area other variety to afford the strongest and the power of red wine of Chianti. But today, I see consumer that like and prefer wine that are drinkable, elegant, and vertical. So our idea is to do Chianti Classico with Sangiovese. Of course, we have other variety. We have other variety. We have a little vineyard of Cabernet Sauvignon, but that is another story. That is another story because we produce with this little vineyard a Super Tuscan, a IGT wine that is called Acciaiolo. And we do also, we grow also Chardonnay, that is the highest vineyard of the state, and we produced it another label that's called Poggio alle Fate. But it's a different story. Chianti Classico in a different version because it's a regular Chianti Classico, Riserva, or Gran Selezione, or single vineyard. It's always Sangiovese grapes because we believe in that grapes.
Yeah, it makes for a fantastic class on Sangiovese to taste, from the Classico Annata, which is
Yeah.
blended, I think, from all the estate vineyards up through the two different expressions of Gran Selezione. But you also have had a lot of success with Sangiovese in Maremma.
Yeah.
When did you take over as winemaker director of Rocca di Montemasi? Did I get my date correctly?
The Zunin family gave me this opportunity in 2016.
16.
In June 2016, I uh, I I was in contact with the past manager, but I was not in charge over there, and I start with the responsibility in June 2016. Yes.
And what did you find different about working with Sangiovese in Maremma versus in Rada and Chianti?
Erin, it's 100 kilometers and two different planets in terms of growing vineyard. 100 kilometers is true, but 600 meters of different of the sea level, for example, because there we are at the 0 meter on the sea level, and so the altitude changing a lot, and the temperature changing a lot in between two estate. Sangiovese, for example, we have a lot of Sangiovese in Rocca di Montemasi. It's more, it's full body, it's less acidity, is more horizontal wine, is more large wine, is more smooth wine, is a wine that you can drink also easily young. For example, for Castello di Albola, you need time to velvety tannin. You need time to smooth the tannin of Sangiovese of Radda. In Maremma, you can drink easily also young Sangiovese because it's a sweeter. Do you understand what I mean? Because the warm temperature help to round this tannin.
Exactly. We think of Sangiovese as the ultimate wine with food in Italy. The first thing we speak of when we talk about eating and drinking Italian. But I found the Sangiovese, especially what you make there in Maremma, to be equally at home just as a glass. And in the United States, we find some of those wines even more popular in the wine bars and non-traditional restaurants.
Exactly. If you drink a Sangiovese of Rada in Chianti, you need food. You need in the way that it's better to have a food. If you opposite the Sangiovese of Maremma, you can drink easily without food. Do you understand?
Oh, of course. And then we mentioned that small plot of Cabernet Sauvignon
Yeah.
in Rada and the Chardonnay, but in Maremma, Rocca Montemasi is becoming just as well known for the other grapes that you're growing. These we call them traditional varietals, but let's say the wines that maybe have only been grown in Tuscany for a few hundred years versus a few thousand. What do you
Yeah.
enjoy working with right now? You have Cabernet Sauvignon,
Yeah,
Merlot, Syrah.
exactly, Erin. We are south of Bulgaria, so we have many international variety. We say international variety to say exactly Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Syrah, and Petit Verdot. That are the variety or the red variety that we grow together at Sangiovese. Of course, the expression of that international variety is give a different style of wine. So give a wine that is a full body wine and very sweet in terms of tannin, very complex in terms of fruity sensation, very drinkable, very powerful. Different style in 100 kilometers from Rada to Maremma, different style of wine, of course. For example, we do a blend that's take a name of the state. We call this wine, we call Rocca di Montemasi, and is a blend of one third, and one third of Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, and Petit Verdot. So very powerful, but of course we try always in my position, my opinion is to try always, also in that case, to don't lose the elegance and the drinkability. Today, more and more people want the wine to be drink, not to wine to be taste. This is our idea also of wine. Of course, there in Maremma is more difficult to do that because the powerful of grapes, the powerful of wine is stronger, is sweeter than Chianti area.
And you mentioned that last wine, that sort of Bordeaux-inspired blend. Uh, when I show that wine to sommeliers, they're always quite surprised that you're using one third Petit Verdot in the
Yeah.
blend, because notoriously in Bordeaux, it's always a very small amount, and as I understand it, a very difficult grape to ripen, much like Sangiovese, I would think.
Yeah.
What have you seen from Petit Verdot that's allowed you to
If
use that
in
much of a blend?
when we start to plant in Rocca di Montemasi international variety, I want to say is not the same for all international. So, for example, I want to say you that, for example, Petit Verdot and Syrah is better that, for example, Merlot. Cabernet Franc probably today sometime is better than Cabernet Sauvignon. So what I want to say is that not the same story. In particular about Petit Verdot in Maremma, in our estate, in Rocca di Montemasi estate, we have a very nice result, very nice quality, and so for that reason we use in that quantity. Yes, normally Petit Verdot in a Bordeaux blend it is in less quantity, but honestly, in our Petit Verdot, our Petit is not so tannic, is not so dark, is not so strong, is not so tough to drink. For that reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful wine. I love it, and I also love the fact that every year that final blend changes a bit. So it's kind of it's an expression, obviously, of winemaking science, but also of the art of your blending.
Yeah, 2021 it will be the first time that I introduce Cabernet Franc.
Oh, fantastic! I look forward
Yeah, but
to.
it's quite a surprise. Yeah, it's the first time. Never put inside, but I believe a lot in that area, very hot area, very warm area. So Cabernet Franc could be an idea. Could be an idea to do fresh wine because it's sometimes it's not easy.
Do you think that's that difference in the grapes you're using or blending is just a result of this increased warming that you're seeing in Tuscany?
It's also because I am a winemaker, and sometimes also we are a little bit architects, and warming, it's a fact that is an important fact, but also the taste. I consider the taste and the taste related at the consumer. I consider a very, very important aspect. So sometimes we have to be careful. We have to be put attention in the freshness, in the what we use in the blend, in that blend. And Cabernet Franc, I like Cabernet Franc in Maremma because remember with the freshness of some time in Chianti.
Of course, have you bottled any Cabernet Franc by itself just to see how it expresses, or do you like
Yes,
it in the blend?
yes. I bottle, but not for the, but bottle for not for me, but for some friends. Yes, I bottle, and yeah, winemaker have to try, no, have to
Of
try
course.
to to try also to try because you can taste a wine today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow is different. So wine it's a natural system that changing in time. So it's important to have a time to do some experiment.
Yeah, and
But
if you think about your work as a winemaker, that yes, you've been making wine with Castel Diablo now in Rocca de Montemasi for many years, but maybe only 18 opportunities to make that wine so far in Castel Diablo. Certainly, with many more vintages to go. You and I are still young.
yeah,
we like to think. Maybe like I didn't think so when we discussed our birth years this morning. But
yeah,
one thing I really appreciate about working for the Zonian family,
yeah.
in 8 generations of winemaking in that family, and how they, I think, look ahead to the next generation, was that they were one of the families that helped create the Qualitas sustainability certification in Italy.
Yeah. I'm. We were in the probably the first I don't know 10 winery that we start did this proceed of Equalitas. Um, just this day, I was with the ispettore, was the man that control that you do a good job in the qualitas. And
So,
I
so
spoke with, I don't know why I say ispettore or I don't know,
the inspector.
inspector, yeah,
Yes.
auditor, and he told me that today in Tuscany, but in Italy in general, Equalitas growing a lot, and we are very very happy. Growing a lot the organic. We are organic too in Castello di Albola and in Rocca di Montemassi, and we are sustainable with the Equalitas proceed Equalitas system. I think it's a responsibility of the winery, of the state, of the people that work in the state to be sustainable, to have a respect of environmental system, and not only because the qualitas consider not just the pollution or product that you use, so organic or not, but consider also the social sustainability and the possibility to have a very nice interaction with the terroir, with the neighbor, etc., all the social sustainability. So we consider opportunity, but we consider that a dovere of the company of the state. For that reason, we start with this proceed, and we are very happy. And also organic in when we start in if you consider Castello di Albola and Rocca di Montemassi are in total 300 hectares of vineyard. So a lot. And when we decide to convert the estate, the company, conventional to organic, was people said, no, it's impossible. Some people said it's impossible, it's so big. But today, after 3-4 years, we are happy about that decision. I consider to give pesticide at the vineyard as a very bad thing, a very bad thing.
Well, it's an exciting time to see this return to, just you said sustainable and organic farming, almost the traditional farming of your ancestors. And for anyone who has the pleasure of visiting the estate there in Maremma, Rocca di Montemassi, Mr. Gianni Zonin built quite an impressive museum to the local industry and local agriculture, and from the roots of individual farming through mezzaduria farming. And there's one point as you walk to the museum where he has a collection of old spray canisters of the pesticides that were sold to these farmers in the post-war era of the late the 50s and 60s, including my favorite, which is a product labeled Super DDT. And these were the new technologies, and now we've realized that we don't need that kind of technology. We get back to just farming the land. And you've done some other fun things with Rocca di Montemassi, not only your green manure project with the
I don't
with the
forget
cattle.
don't forget the Vermentino.
Oh no.
Vermentino in Rocca di Montemassi and in general in Maremma, it's a variety that growing faster. And why? Because it's a nice wine. Is a little bit aromatic. It's fresh, a good acidity, drinkable. So easy to drink with the fish, aperitif. So Vermentino, and we plant this year. We have planted already 5 hectare more, so because is the variety that growing faster. Yeah. This is I have also another project of white. It's called Viognier. It's a new bottle in Rocca di Montemassi, new label, because we have also some hectares of this interesting white variety, and white combination also the coast of Tuscany that is very close. We have a very good sell out also in this white variety. So Vermentino and Viognier, new project that is in this case is oak fermentation and oak aging. So different style. Vermentino is fresh, just stainless steel with inox tank, and Viognier is oak fermentation and maturity and oak maturity. So it's a different style, different style.
Well, looking forward to just seeing that wine released. I think there was one year, was it 2017, that was very warm, and you did not make any of the Viognier.
But it's so in general, I am agree with you, but it's very interesting what's happened about Viognier, because I start is the third vintage. I did 2018, 19, and 20. And also, according to you, I thought about the Viognier is too hot, it's too warm. Oh my God. But I don't know. I try. I try very good maturity, so the alcohol is quite important, and the wine, result is a full body white wine and a nice bouquet, important bouquet. So I am very happy about that wine. And I am going also to try to do some Vermentino in that case in amphora, so earth, cook earth. Do you understand?
Yeah, it's very
Amphora.
interesting.
Yeah, and also for that, I do also in Castello d'Albola. I do also in Castello d'Albola for Sangiovese, but I start in Maremma to have a very, very natural fermentation, long fermentation and maturation also for white, for Vermentino in amphora. And we are at the beginning, but I'm very, very curious, but I'm quite positive about that experiment.
Well, it is exciting. I think for most of us in the Via community, Vermentino is one of those grapes that we all love. And if you look at the globe, it really is, that quintessential Mediterranean grape
Yeah.
between from the south of France to Liguria to Maremma to Corsica and of course Sardinia. It thrives there. And there's a famous wine writer in New York City who has been championing Vermentino as the white wine that Americans probably should be drinking more than Pinot Grigio, because it just gives more fruit, more juicy acidity, more interesting flavors generally. Not to denigrate Pinot Grigio, but I think those of us that drink Italian white wines fall in love more easily with Vermentino.
I hope so, Erin. I hope so. We have a 30 hectares, so I hope so.
Oh, we have plenty to sell then.
Yeah. I said we sell now. Vermentino is sell in overall in the area, so in Tuscany, and it start to expand around in Rome, in Milano, but most is in the area. Most is in the area.
Well, it's certainly always the story of Italy is that for the most part everyone drinks quite locally, um, and as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of our clubhouse here, we were going to, at least I did, open a vintage bottle of one of your babies here, the Chianti Classico Riserva from the 2014 vintage. I think I had told you at one point when I first started in the wine business, I worked for an Italian sommelier, uh, and he would always complain that Americans wanted to drink their white wines too young and they wanted their red wines too old, like the British. Uh,
Yeah.
but one thing I have seen working certainly with your wines in Italian wines is how well and how beautifully these wines age. Just as a side note, Francesco Zonin, if anyone follows him on Instagram, he put out a picture just last night of a bottle he enjoyed. A little restaurant just outside of Vicenza that had a bottle of the 1987 Chianti
Yeah.
Classico, the Annata, not the Riserva. Um,
Yeah.
and it looked beautiful in the glass, and he said it was delicious. Obviously, it was well stored, but it speaks to even just what we consider the simplest of wines being able to age so nicely.
But because Erin, I think wine, and in special, honestly, this is a red wine, is a emotion, is a sensation, is a occasion to drink. I am agree with your friend of the sommelier, but honestly, I want to say also that. There are not the rule to the drink the age of the wine because it's depend what you want in that evening, in that day. It depends of course, of the quality of wine, white or red. It depends what do you want in that occasion with your friend or I don't know who. But of course. Of course, wine have a best moment to drink, of course, but it's not. It's also that this best time is not the same for you and for me. So this is a beautiful thing, I think, of this natural liquid that is called wine. I think so about the aging. I think so about the drinking wine, younger or older. Sometimes I love to drink a young wine. Sometimes I love to drink a old wine because I am in a special occasion. I love to taste. I love to yeah, to taste what it's become.
And you'd
Yeah.
think that to open a Classico Reserva like this, that we would all automatically be thinking of Bistecca Fiorentina, but
Yes.
which is always fantastic. But for me tonight, I am going to save the rest of this bottle so my wife doesn't mad at me. But and I'm going to put two pieces of salmon on the grill.
Ah, salmon.
You
Okay,
know,
okay. I
yeah,
try to find. I try to find a Fiorentina for me. But Erin, I I like to say just 1 minute more. If you give me 1 minute more, when you ask somebody asked me about the difference between two estates. Sometimes I love to say this story about Castello d'Albola and Rocca di Montemassi, to also to give a image. Castello d'Albola, it's for me, 700 years old. Is a story of wine, is a story of culture, as a Tuscany culture, Florence, Siena, wine, growing wine here from 14th century. So it's a story of wine, is a story of elegance. Castello d'Albola, Radda in Chianti Classico is a wine that can age a lot, that you can drink after, like Francesco did, 87, etc., etc. But I want to say that Rocca di Montemassi, for me, represent a part of land that is younger, but is not only wine, but is an agricultural system. The beauty of Maremma today, for me, is that the estate is not just wine, but is wine, the cows, agriculturals, grain, is a system, is a circle system. If you want an imaging that I can give you, we are not biodynamic, but probably the Rocca di Montemassi is the most dynamic, biodynamic, most circular estate of Zonin estates. We use the product, for example, the fava beans that we grow in the field, we use to do nutrient at the vineyard. So the circulation of the agriculture is a very special. Are two different system, Chianti and Maremma. Sorry for the parentheses.
no, it's a perfect description of the two estates. And one thing I love about Montemasi is how that progression has evolved from bringing in the cows for the green manure and then planting heirloom wheat to feed the cows, and then you have excess wheat. And so Imperiale gin was born. Uh,
Esatto, exactly. But because Rocca di Montemassi is a state that is more rock, so for that exists gin.
and for anyone that, like I said, has the pleasure to visit, both properties have really incredible little restaurants. And as you heard, They, especially Rocca Montemasi, they grow pretty much all their own vegetables, and if you're lucky, the Meramina cattle, if I pronounce that correctly, is another ancient breed like the Chianina that we think of.
Yeah, hospitality, Erin, today, it's one thing that for us is extremely, extremely important. Today, hospitality growing in Castello d'Albola, thousand and thousand of people come to visit us, and also in Rocca di Montemasi. Why? Pandemia changing the system to visit, to change the structure of hospitality. Today, the gastronomia, so the restaurant, the food, the food pairing with the wine is extremely important for Italian people, but not only for Italian people, for uh, tourists that come from America, from Europe, etc., etc. Because today, to taste a glass of wine, people want to taste a uh, good plate of food. And so today, hospitality, visit the site, visit the winery, take a glass of wine with food is extremely important for our image, for our brand to explain also our philosophy. Many people want to hear directly in the winery what's happening in the winery, what is your philosophy, taste the wine, explain the agricultural, the agronomy system, etc., etc., etc.
Perfectly said, Alessandro. And to bring Stevie back in to wrap up our Clubhouse fireside chat here, it is a business that we're in, this wine business that is only fully, realized and experienced face to face and glass to glass. And so,
Yeah.
while we love getting together and having these chats, it was so important to have VinItaly again and to have the wineries, open for visits again. So I look forward to being there myself this summer, and I encourage anyone that was listening today to do the same. The hospitality at both wineries is exceptional, and as we all know, touring through Italy is unlike any other country.
I wait in Tuscany, Eric.
Alessandro, I appreciate your time, your
Okay,
enthusiasm, your
that's
knowledge.
it.
Thank you
That's the
very
note.
much, Eric. Thank
That's
you, Stevie.
Yes, that's the sign. I'm going to close up the room. And just as a kind reminder, thank you so much, Erin and Alessandro, for this call. Very informative. I think there's so many things that you've shared with us, and we are incredibly grateful. We will be replaying this, of course, call on Italian Wine Podcasts, wherever you get your pods, whether it's SoundCloud or Spotify or anywhere else. And next, we also have, by the way, we're back on Mama Jumbo Shrimp, of course, with the video recordings as well. So check that out. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channels, Italian Wine Podcast and Mama Jumbo Shrimp on YouTube. Next week, who are we having next week?
So next week we're gonna have Lisa Endrizzi of Cantina Endrizzi to be interviewed by Natalia Fabrizi.
Okay, so same time, 6 p.m., correct?
Yes,
Next
6
week,
p.m.
Thursday.
Yes.
Come back, y'all, to join us once again on the Italian Wine Club on Clubhouse. So that is for now signing off. Ciao ragazzi, grazie mille. Alla prossima.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, Erin.
Ciao.
Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
guys. I'm Joy Livingston, and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love, and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to ItalianWinePodcast.com.